My pool was a pond. My golf cart would have been a tractor. But here's what I got. What I did do is I married the prettiest girl in town, and then we left. That was 20 years ago. Yeah, that was 20 years ago. We came to Atlanta. I studied at Southern Tech, computer science. She went to Georgia State and was a teacher. She got her master's there. But the whole time through college, we didn't have that typical college life. You know, the sororities and the parties and everything. We worked. Throughout college, I got pretty lucky. I landed a position with IBM. And what I would do is I'd go to school a quarter and I would work a quarter. And usually the quarters I was working, I was also taking night classes. I mean, I inhaled it, I buried myself, I worked. And when I'll tell you this, when I first started at IBM, I remember my manager pulling me to the side and saying, Dave, we don't say sir and ma'am in Atlanta, right? It made me realize pretty quickly Atlanta's not in Georgia. So IBM's a great company. It was an incredible opportunity. I literally was in a playground. I mean, I was studying, I was going to school, I was applying what I was working, what I was doing in the workplace. I gained a lot of experience. I gained a work history with a large company, a well-known company. And when I graduated, I had a job. I had a job with IBM. And here's the best part. The best part is I graduated debt-free. Working through school, paid for, I mean, it was tight, but I mean, it paid for my education, it paid for my wife's education, and we graduated debt-free. And then I was there at IBM. We were developing software for the K through 12 industry. And not too long after I graduated, I hit a fork in life, a fork in my job at IBM. They asked me to go out west and take a management position. Guys, I thought management was for old people. I was too young, way too young to take this management position, and I saw that as a fork in the road. And you know what I did? I took it. I left. I left IBM and went from big business down to a small business, a small company here in Atlanta, and it was a software development position, and I ate it up. I inhaled that position again. I worked hard. I worked so hard that my oldest son, the first 2 years of his life, I missed him. I wasn't there at all. In my office, I had a couch. The couch was not for people to come hang out and talk. The couch was for me to sleep. I remember at that company, we were getting prepared for this big show we were going to do in New York. And we even brought in these movie producers type crew. They were going to film what we were doing. It was going to be a big thing at this show. I worked for 3 days straight. I didn't go home. I had 6 hours of sleep. I was so tired, and this is a typical pattern. I was so tired, I couldn't even hold my hands straight as we were trying to do this thing. That night, 2:30 in the morning, I leave. I'm going home. Well, I live in Woodstock. As soon as I hit city limits, blue lights everywhere. I mean, everywhere. I get pulled over. I'm getting out of my car. A police officer is shouting, "Get back in the car." I don't care what city you're from. "Yes, sir," is always the appropriate response with a police officer. Doesn't matter. But they were flashlights everywhere trying to figure out what's going on. They finally asked me to get out. He's in my face. "Well, how much have you been drinking?" "I haven't been drinking. I'm tired." "So you take drugs?" "No, I don't take drugs. I'm tired. I'm trying to go home." You know, it was dumb being that tired trying to drive on the road to get home. But the point is, I inhaled it. I worked hard. Well, after 5 years, I came to another fork in the road at that company. The term management came up. I was too young for management, so what did I do? I took the fork again and left. I left and stepped into the world of consulting. Now, I want to tell you, I loved consulting. I'm in the driver's seat. I'm doing it. I'm deciding what's going on. I'm running. I mean, I'm running hard. And quickly, a year and a half later, I hit that third fork. Third fork was, I want more. I want more. I started a company. This was 10 years ago, and this company over the past 10 years has been built, has grown off of profit. Not loans, not investors. It's grown off of the drive, the profit of the company. And we've made it through 9/11. We've made it through the dot-com bust. We're driving right now through this recession. And with this company, it's the company's Sophisticity, and we provide technology services. I really run two businesses. One's a software development practice, our company. Another one is a network services or managed services company. And we provide services to state agencies and then to local government. And the state agencies, they leverage all of our practices. We're writing code. For example, like for one state, we're writing the software that's going to manage billions of retirement assets, workers' comp claims. And for cities, we help negotiate large contracts. We provide managed services, network infrastructure. And with the company, this company is, again, it's fast-paced, it's aggressive, but it's also based on some core values. You know, those core values: focus on the customer, tell the truth, communicate frequently and openly, produce results, and focus on process. So I've quickly ran you through a little bit of history with me, a little bit of history with the company. What I'd like to do next is let's shift gears. I want to focus in on the past 2 years of my life. 2 years ago, at that point in my life, what got me to where I am today, if you'd have asked me, I'd have told you, me. Me. I did it. I pushed. It was me. Well, 2 years ago, I didn't know God. I didn't see God in my life. And it was all about me. And if there was a problem, it wasn't mine. It was somebody else's. So 2 years ago, I got an invitation to an event very similar to the one here today. Started off with a cold call that turned into lunch, and then an invitation to an event like this today. And I want to tell you, it didn't have anything to do with a speaker, didn't have anything to do with God. What it did have to do was a chance to be in a room with a number of other people to talk business, see what would happen. I showed up. I saw friends there I didn't expect to see there. I met new people, new friends. And then the third one was, I did not expect the story that the person that spoke that day told. I didn't expect it at all. His story literally could have been my own life on display. I mean, I left that morning literally overwhelmed. Overwhelmed, one, that somebody would get up there and bare their soul. And number two, they were dead on where the mark where I was at. His story dealt with the pain between his father and the son. I want to tell you, that same pain was between this father and my son. This father being too busy, too quick to say no, too focused on the next goal, focused on obtaining that next goal. Well, I left that day and I did what I always do. I took those feelings and I buried them. I pushed them way down. I did what I'm really good at doing, and that's getting back to work and getting it done. I'm going to tell you, I bet there's a lot of people in this room very good at getting it done. I mean, that's partly probably why you're here too. But after that event, I was asked with about 3 others to get together and to study the book of John. And I want to tell you, at that point in my life, I'd actually read the Bible before. You know, I remember this Old Testament. Guys, that was hard. I mean, what those guys went through, that was brutal. And then we get to this New Testament. It's like the other end of the pendulum, right? We get to this New Testament, and it's, come on, come get you a hug. I didn't get it. I thought it was bipolar. I mean, I didn't, you know, I literally put it down and walked away from it. And then when I was asked to be in this small group and study the book of John, you know, I couldn't remember who John was, what the book was about, let alone where was it. I mean, that's a It's a big book, right? Where was it in that book? So I said yes. I showed up. And, we first started off with just getting to know each other. Who are you? Tell us about your family. What do you do? And we also talked about some questions that, we would be working through and discussing. And a few that stick in my mind right now. Who's Jesus? What's his relationship with God the Father? What did he say about eternal life? Eternal life. Well, each week we would take about a chapter or two, and we would study and meet and talk and discuss. And I remember the further we got through those weeks, the more I really began to question. Things that I'd always knew, 100% positive, just didn't jive with what I was learning. I'll give you the first one. I have always felt in control, complete control, since I was a child to now as an adult. You know how I obtain control? It's easy. I work harder than anybody else. Anybody else. I did it as a child in sports, and I excelled. I excelled in football. I did it in school. I excelled. I did it in college. I did it in work. I do it in my business. I just work harder than anybody else. The further as we got through, the further we carried on through. Do you know what I began to realize? That I excelling, that control, what it was? It was my fear. I run a company and we're talking about fear. It was my fear of failure. That fear of failure was actually controlling me. It made it real easy to neglect those I care about. I've got to get this done tonight. I promise I'll be at the next game. I'll be home soon. I'm telling myself the whole time, I'm doing it for them. No, I wasn't. I was doing it for me. The second one okay, listen, I haven't cheated on my wife. I haven't